Welcome to Strip Coverlet, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Ford, and we're here for another Bukowski poem. A poem that comes to us from Charles Bukowski, which will appear in the poetry discussion playlist on the channel. But I will shortly, probably, I'm lazy, by the way, I will probably be spinning off a Bukowski playlist that is just comprised of the poetry discussions that I've done for Charles Bukowski at some point in the near future. Also, by the way, if you enjoy what I do here, hitting the like button tells YouTube to share this video with other YouTube literature lovers. And if you want to hear me talk about philosophy, and there will be some philosophy in this video, there is a link to my personal channel to be found in the description below. Over there, I talk about philosophy, I talk about goal setting, I talk about movies, all sorts of stuff that I don't talk about here. This is strictly literature. So if you find yourself here by chance but not design, consider hitting the subscribe button in order to stick around for more literature. There is poetry every Monday. Every Monday, there is poetry at least, though now we are approaching 60 uploads in a row, 60 days in a row, uploading something, and many of those have been poetry discussions. But we are here today to discuss Charles Bukowski and a poem that I think would be very easy to write off, very easy to pay no attention to. I have often said that Bukowski is read best as a novel. You sit down with Bukowski, a collection of Bukowski, and you just read 20, 30 poems at a time, and you take in the narrative. And I think that if you do that, this could very easily be one of the poems that you kind of don't pay attention to going forward. But I think there are things here to talk about. The poem reads as such. Here they come, these guys, gray truck, radio playing. They are in a hurry. It's quite exciting. Shirt open, bellies hanging out, they run out the trash bins, roll them out to the forklift, and then the truck grinds it upwards with far too much sound. They had to fill out application forms to get these jobs. They are paying for homes and drive late model cars. They get drunk on Saturday night. Now, in the Los Angeles sunshine, they run back and forth with their trash bins. All that trash goes somewhere, and they shout to each other. Then they are all up in the truck, driving west towards the sea. None of them know that I am alive. Rex Disposal Company. So why this poem? Why talk about this poem? This is so throwaway, it seems. We're here. Does he say what morning it is? Just morning, I think. It doesn't matter. That's where I was confused. He mentioned Saturday nights, but there's no morning here. Probably, I don't know. We'll say Sundays. This is Sunday morning. And every Sunday morning, these guys drive by and they pick up Bukowski's trash. And Bukowski is utterly fascinated with it because they all seem in such a hurry. They are all working so hard, and they all have lives outside of this. But this right here is where I want to concentrate. None of them know that I am alive. Why is it doing that? None of them know that I am alive. And I think with this poem, there are three ways to interpret that line and its import. Well, that couplet, technically a couplet. None of them know that I am alive. Why would we dwell there? Well, what does it mean? None of them know that I am alive. Does it mean, number one, they play such a big part of my day? I wait around to listen to their music and to hear that big old truck grinding away, to watch their bellies jiggle as they run and they hurry and they throw things, and I am imagining their outside lives. All of this. They don't even know I'm here. It's strange that two lives can exist so closely to one another and know absolutely nothing about one another. Here he is imagining their Saturday nights, imagining all of these things that they must do. They drive late model cars, etc. They have no idea about him. It is sort of, I have often wondered about the feeling of anonymity. How long has there really in human history been a feeling of anonymity? I live in an apartment complex. I have a neighbor off one side and a neighbor to the other side. Don't know their names, barely know what they look like, have no idea what they're doing with their lives. I have no idea of their hopes and dreams. Any of these things, have no idea. None. Doesn't matter to me. I don't matter to them. There is true anonymity despite the fact that I can hear my neighbors brushing their teeth because the walls are so thin. How long has that been? Surely not since before big cities, right? When there were towns, everyone had a job, everyone depended on someone else for something. There was something you needed from your neighbor. Such is the case. No more. At least not in most cities. There is a true sense of anonymity. There's danger in anonymity. But is there hope in anonymity? You can always recreate who it is that you are. I graduated high school with no real hopes for college. Went through the community college process and ended up moving away to college 22, 23 years old. And I got to just move to this new place 50 miles away and decide different things about my personality. Now, I always could have done that here. I moved back to Kansas City since. I always could have done that here. I never did. It never seemed like an option. Why? Because people know me here. I was X, Y, and Z to them. Moving to this new place, nobody knew anything about me. I could just imagine maybe I'm not X, Y, and Z. Maybe I'm a little bit more social. Maybe I'm a little bit less curmudgeonly. You know, all of these things you get to reinvent about yourself. But the number two way that I think that this couplet, none of them even know that I am alive, can be interpreted as this. I, Bukowski, Charles Bukowski, Henry Chinaski, technically, but Charles Bukowski, the poet, the world-renowned poet, none of these guys, these salt-of-the-earth types, even know that I, the Bukowski, exist. None of them know that. They're still getting along with their life. None of them know that I, the great poet, am standing before them. How important must poetry be? None of these guys have any idea. None of these guys have any idea. They're still going through their life. They've got a house. They've got a late model car. They get to get drunk on Saturday nights. They have no idea that I, the great poet, am before them. Poetry must be bunk. How bunk is poetry? Right? And the third way that I think that this can be taken, and this is where we get into a little bit of philosophy, is that there's all of this craziness in the world. All of this craziness in the world. These guys have their lives outside of this trash truck, outside of their bellies hanging out, flopping about while they run and grab the bins. But in this little moment, our worlds intersect. And they grab and toss about everything that I throw away. Think about everything that you throw away. It ends up in a stranger's hands. Everything? What do you put in that trash can? With whom do you share some of those things? Right? and they don't know anything about you, and you don't know anything about them. It communicates to me the experience of thrown-ness. From Wikipedia, thrown-ness, German Geworfenheit, is a concept introduced by German philosopher Martin Heidegger, 1889 to 1976. Wow, I had no idea he was alive in the 70s. To describe humans' individual existences as being thrown, geworfen, into the world. Overview. Geworfen denotes the arbitrary character of Dasein's experience in the sense of having been born into a specific family in a particular culture at a given moment in human history. The past, through being toward death, becomes a part of Dasein. Awareness and acknowledgement of the arbitrariness of Dasein is characterized in the state of thrownness, in the present with all its attendant frustrations, sufferings, and demands that one does not choose, such as social conventions or ties of kinship and duty, the very fact of one's own existence and manifestation of thrownness, the idea of the past as a matrix not chosen, but at the same time not utterly binding or deterministic, results of the notion of Geworfenheit, a kind of alienation that human beings struggle against, and that leaves a paradoxical opening for freedom. The thrower of the project is thrown in his own throw. How can we account for this freedom? We cannot. It is simply a fact not caused or grounded, but the condition of all causation and groundings. Thrownness is the feeling, every once in a while you'll get this. The most maybe prominent of what I think is a thrownness is a minuscule example, highway hypnosis. Have you ever been driving somewhere and realized, oh, how did I get here? Am I where I'm supposed to be? I don't remember that building ever being there before. You've experienced that. Have I missed my exit? I have no idea what the side of the highway 3 miles out from my exit looks like. Did I drive past it? We've all been there. That I think is a minuscule thrownness that extrapolated really scales to the experience of life in that, look, I didn't choose to be 5'7". I didn't choose to be white. I didn't choose to be male. I didn't choose to be stunningly handsome. You think I want these looks? Okay. There are all sorts of things in our life that we did not choose. And every moment, it's sort of an existentialist epiphany. Every moment, we could decide to be freaked out about everything around us. About everything around us. The classical sort of existentialist example is if you're sitting on a chair at a desk, you're sitting on dead trees in front of dead trees, the wood on the chair, the wood on the desk, etc. That's sort of an easy example for existentialism. What is the top-down existence like? But the experience of thrownness is all about just the sudden awareness. You didn't choose almost any of this. You didn't choose almost anything in your life. Did you choose your parents? No. Did you choose to be born when you were born? So all of these immutable characteristics about you, you didn't choose that. You have no say in it. You are thrown into your life at 1,000 miles an hour. There is a quote from Christopher Hitchens when they asked him what he thought the meaning of life was, oh, I wish I had prepared for this. I would have taken the note. He said something like, the meaning of life is realizing that we are expelled from our mother's uterus as if thrown towards a barn door filled with files and rusty nails, and realizing that no one gets out of this alive, and that everyone, what it's a matter of is how we use the intervening time in an interesting and ironic fashion. I believe that is mostly the quote. And try not to do anything ghastly to your fellow creatures along the way. So, Christopher Hitchens' meaning of life was basically just realize you're thrown into this thing. Try not to do anything ghastly to anybody. Try not to really hurt anybody. You're going to hurt people. That's what it is to be alive. That's what it is to be in communion with other people. You're going to hurt people. Try not to do anything really bad to anybody. And try to be ironic and interesting. Because nothing else really is your choice. So, though this poem might sort of seem easily disposable, ha ha ha, ironic, it's about the trash men, throw it away, might seem like a throwaway poem. It is instead, I think, an exemplary example of the fact that we are thrown into life. It is about this experience of thrown-ness. That is all I have for this poetry discussion. If you enjoy what I do here, hitting the like button tells YouTube to share this video with other literature lovers, and I would really appreciate that. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, literature is the only thing I talk about on this channel. Poetry on Mondays, we're reading through No Longer Human right now, and I've got a series going on that is taking me all too long to really put together. But if you decide to click on those videos, I think you'll understand a little bit about why it's taking me so long. And there's a good deal more editing in those than I normally do on this channel, but I am working towards it. We're approaching 60 days in a row here on Strip Cover Lit, and I hope to have you back for the next one.